Hi, welcome to Staxpeditions on Tour. Our crew from Iowa is here in Las Vegas for the American Library Association conference, so we stopped by Bauman Rare Books to say hello to Rebecca Romney.
Hello.
Here we go.
One of the reasons that Alice has had legs is because it's in public domain, and I don't know if you had heard about the Doyle estate, the Conan Doyle estate, and Frank Sherlock, right? And they recently sort of lost that. I think they're going to appeal. But that was one of the main arguments, was there were a lot of people who want to write pastiches and want to be part of that, and it's actually would be good for the literary estate if they allowed for more access to that, because it's going to make anything Holmes just spread further and further and get more people involved. And isn't that a good thing all around?
Yeah, at the University of Iowa, we work with an organization called the Organization for Transformative Works, preserving fan history and fan culture. Yeah, they are. The announcement came to me first from them. They are very, very excited for all the future fan interpretations of Holmes that might be able to more fully flourish.
And Holmes actually is a great example too, because Holmes sees these huge spikes in interest based on really popular adaptations. So these days you have BBC Sherlock, which has just been rapidly popular. But there were similar versions earlier, like Basil Rathbone, for example. And
Jerry Brett.
Exactly, Jerry Brett. So you have these people that have different generations who say, oh, which Sherlock did you discover first?
That's my Holmes.
Exactly. And these are things that create this dialogue between different types of media that allow not only for new interpretations as you put them into a new format, but also to allow for people to discover, to create bridges where they didn't really realize that there was something else to go to. And definitely the case for Pride and Prejudice. I think of BBC movies and miniseries, and I mean, how many adaptations of Pride and Prejudice are there?
There are so many.
Yeah.
Miniseries, movies, fan fiction, YouTube series, just again and again and again and again.
Well, the Lizzie Bennet Diaries is a good example of that, because it was, I thought, pretty innovative in trying that as a format, this new format of the vlog, right? And using it as an online diary. And on the one hand, just changing Pride and Prejudice into almost an epistolary or a journal form, that's one interpretation. But then to do it in a video format, you're adding all sorts of complexities there, and so you have to adapt. So, for example, how they sort of conflated some of the sisters or things, and these are poetic license, but they're there for a reason, because you're now in a new format and you want to emphasize certain things and you want to de-emphasize others. So.
And it's a wink back too. Even when you decide for complexity to eliminate some of the sisters, she's still there as a cat.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's the nod back to the people who know.
Right.
You know, that's how you see the two interpretations working together simultaneously.
Right. Now, I have to say, being the nerd that I am, I just love that type of thing. I mean, Sherlock actually does that too, where he's looking for cigarettes and he grabs one of his slippers and looks in one of those, and then he moves on, and most people like, all right, that was weird. But in the actual stories, that is where he keeps his snuff in one of his slippers. So there are little winks all throughout, and it's something too, I think it enhances the enjoyment of that interpretation, because it makes you kind of feel like it's an inside joke. You're in on it, and you feel part of it, and it's like, these are my people.
Well, and that's what makes a community around a text, which is a really different thing, and what you can do when a text is in the public domain like that, when it survives over time and continually has a way to be reinterpreted and connect with a new community in that way.
Right. Well, that's what can keep these texts relevant as well. I mean, there are some books that, say, 100 years ago, everyone read and no one knows today. I think two of the most popular books around 1899 have Dracula, which everyone knows today. And think about how many interpretations of that there have been in the past century. But the other one is Trilby. No one reads Trilby anymore. If you know the word Trilby, it's because of the Trilby hat, really. And that did come from the book. But other than that, the average public won't know anything about it. And it's interesting to see which ones get legs, particularly through new interpretations, and which ones kind of languish. And that is a reflection not only of the culture that it was produced from, but a reflection on our culture now and what we value and what we find interesting in our taste.
Yeah, and an interesting conflict there, then you've got these two titles that were the most popular, where there are a lot of copies out there that people could own today. One that everyone's fighting over because it's been continually reinterpreted and still really relevant and valued today, and the other that anyone could get a copy, but people aren't fighting for them.
Right. Right.